Live from downtown Macon, this is WGXA News live on YouTube.
Hi, good evening, Middle Georgia. I'm Greg Lloyd. Amanda Peralta has the night off, and thank you for watching WGXA News at 5:30. Well, happy Labor Day, by the way, and while some of us had to work, others had the chance to enjoy a three-day weekend. It's made for a busy weekend, nonetheless, on Middle Georgia roadways. Our Carlos Stevens spoke to drivers about their trips, but he also asked people about their Labor Day traditions. And Carlos, I understand you have a Labor Day tradition of your own. What is it, buddy?
Hey Greg, I do. It's right here in my hand. That is food. I actually spoke to some other people, as you said, and they had a similar tradition.
You have a few drinks. You're definitely got to have those drinks in there now.
Those are just some of Tyranny Lee's Labor Day traditions that allow him some time to spread love without labor, of course.
Enjoy quality time with the family, loved ones.
Lee says every Labor Day he travels 300 miles with excitement.
Freedom off work.
Corey Beach says while there's a high volume of traffic on Labor Day weekend on I-75, it's not stopping him from showing his neighbor what the Peach State has to offer. And if you're wondering what their favorite thing to do on Labor Day is, well, you probably guessed it.
Ride motorcycle.
And his neighbor Chris Rodriguez has a bit of a more tasty tradition.
Grill some good food, being off from work, and just enjoying the family, really.
But everyone I spoke to plans to do their part to keep themselves and their neighbors safe. In 2022, during the Labor Day holiday travel period, GSP troopers investigated a total of 472 crashes, resulting in 9 fatalities and 243 injuries statewide. There were 15 fatal crashes in total. Additionally, troopers made 324 arrests for driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs.
Now we expect to learn the number of accidents and DUI arrests in the coming days, and of course we'll bring those new numbers to you both on air and online at WGXA.tv. For now, we're live here in Warner Robins. I'm Carlos Stevens, WGXA News.
All right, Carlos, thank you. And for most Americans, Labor Day is a long weekend with a barbecue or much needed vacation. But the holiday has over 100 years of history, honoring workers' contributions to America, along with the way they made big strides in higher pay and better working conditions as well. For some, it's still a fight that continues today. CB Cotton has that story.
Travelers passing through Dallas-Fort Worth Airport ahead of the Labor Day weekend were faced with a visible reminder of the reason for the holiday. American Airlines flight attendants authorized a strike just last week. The union says they haven't gotten a raise since before the pandemic.
We're all fighting corporate greed, record-setting revenues. Yet we are still here without a contract.
Labor Day became an official federal holiday in the late 19th century, following a series of pivotal strikes by organized labor and workers' unions that brought key changes to how workers were treated.
A recognition of the kinds of rights that workers today generally enjoy, including the right to form unions and the right of those unions to provoke collective bargaining with their employers.
That fight for a better deal continues today across a wide range of industries as workers face a growing pay gap between themselves and industry leaders.
You can't make $21 billion in profits in half a year and expect members to take a mediocre contract.
Participation in organized labor has been on the decline for decades. More than a third of private sector workers belonged to a union in the 1950s. Today, that number is only at about 6%. Still, union members believe their efforts make a difference. A strike by Hollywood writers and actors has put a stop to major film productions for months. Even some household names have joined the picket lines.
This is going to be for the future of the unions. This is a union country. We have to take care of our people.
With strikes ongoing or looming in multiple industries, the labor and Labor Day is once again in the national spotlight. CB Cotton, Fox News.
And President Biden was in Philadelphia Labor Day morning. Biden attended the annual Tri-State Labor Day parade in the city and later spoke to the crowd. Biden told people that he's the most pro-union president in U.S. history and that America needs to continue to create good-paying jobs.
Folks, in this Labor Day, let me tell you what we're celebrating. We're celebrating jobs, good-paying jobs. Jobs you can raise a family on, union jobs.
Biden says the U.S. has added nearly 13,500,000 jobs since he took office in January of 2021. Well, the U.S. government is set to run out of money on September the 30th. That is, unless Congress passes a budget or a continuing resolution to move that deadline a bit later. But despite both the Speaker of the House and the Senate Majority Leader signaling that they're ready to pass that CR, there are multiple indications that the fight is going to be a messy one, with a government shutdown growing more likely. Here's Christine Frizzell.
The quiet lull of Capitol Hill serving as a contrast for what to expect in the weeks to come.
If you look at all the information we've been able to gather so far, it is a natural step forward that you would have to go to an impeachment inquiry.
That impeachment inquiry into President Biden raising accusations GOP lawmakers are doing the bidding of former President Trump, who posted on social media, "Impeach the bum," adding, "They did it to us."
I will not vote to fund the government unless we have passed an impeachment inquiry on Joe Biden.
Speaking of spending, that top priority for lawmakers could already be stuck in quicksand. One of the most vocal members of the House Freedom Caucus providing us a preview before departing for August recess.
We control the power of the purse.
Texas Congressman Chip Roy imploring his Republican colleagues to use that power to try to get concrete changes made at the FBI, with social policies in the military, and to push forward a border bill passed along party lines in the House.
Or will we curl up in a little ball like we tend to do every single year and say, oh no, they're going to criticize us for a government shutdown?
In the Senate, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer already making clear in a letter to his colleagues, quote, House Republican extremists will be to blame for forcing a government shutdown, a prospect some warn is already weighing on American business owners.
They are worried. They are very worried. What businesses need to be successful is predictability. You know, predictability, some semblance of, regular order.
Regular order not predicted to be widely present on Capitol Hill.
We have one bill out of 12 completed because extremists are holding your conference hostage.
The hostage taking and finger pointing, though, expected in full force. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
Well, it's time for a check of the Skywatch weather forecast during this beautiful Labor Day weekend. We got meteorologist Ryan Miranda, and Ryan, today is considered the unofficial end of summer, but you say that summer heat is not going anywhere.
I know, Greg. We're still going to be dealing with above average temperatures in the mid-90s, especially compared to this weekend. It's been absolutely spectacular. I mean, just look out over Macon with our Wilson Bry Heating and Air Skycast Network. Bright blue skies out there. Current temperature 91 degrees, which is the high so far for today. Just 1 degree above average, but the warmest out of the past 5. Friday, Saturday, and yesterday, temperatures didn't even make it into the 90s. So it was pretty spectacular for this weekend. And satellite and radar showing that we have high pressure that's in control over the eastern third of the U.S. Not a lot going on, giving us the clear weather, but that's also going to be starting that warm-up trend. So back to school tomorrow, partly cloudy at the bus stop, comfortable 67 degrees at lunchtime, 85 with a mixture of sun and clouds, and temperatures in the low 90s again tomorrow. I'll talk about how high temperatures are going to be going this week. Plus, I'm tracking a system in the tropics. I'll talk more about that coming up in your full forecast. Greg?
Ryan, thank you. Now's a great time to download that WGXA weather app to keep you updated on the high temperatures. Just scan the QR code on your screen. It downloads straight to your smartphone or smart device. Ryan's back shortly with your 10-day forecast. Well, there is a lot on the plate for bid commissioners when they meet later this week. One notable issue to be discussed, a potential change to closing time for local bars. Currently, alcohol sales must stop at 2 a.m. and the business is required to close an hour later at 3. Mayor Lester Miller says that's putting a burden on businesses and is a rule often ignored. He's now wanting to get rid of the gap between the end of alcohol sales and closing time. Commissioners will also discuss another proposal from the mayor on large gatherings in the county. Miller is wanting to limit these and when and where they can happen, all for the sake of public safety. Under the proposal, gatherings of 10 or more people must have a permit in order to be on a public right-of-way between midnight and 6 in the morning. If passed, anyone violating the ordinance would face a $50 fine. Local food trucks could also be seeing some changes soon. These changes stemming from issues with some food trucks blocking parts of the road, not disposing of the waste properly, or disturbing businesses. The ordinance would require food trucks to have proper permits, written permission to be on private property, and permission from the mayor's office to be on public property, and it limits them to being open between the hours of 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. Commissioners are set to approve the grant funds that will help complete the new runway project at the Middle Georgia Regional Airport. A grant from the Federal Aviation Administration would bring in more than $12 million, while a Georgia Department of Transportation grant would add another $700,000 plus another $700,000 from a local capital improvement project. And the Perry City Council has tentatively approved a millage rate that would require an almost 9% increase in property taxes. The 14 mil millage rate would cost a homeowner with a $150,000 home about extra $67 on their tax bill. The city is inviting all citizens to participate in a public hearing on the proposed increase. That hearing will happen tomorrow night at 6 at the Perry City Hall. To local crime, and deputies are on the search for the person who robbed a convenience store on Sunday night. According to deputies, the man walked into the Vineville Food Mart just before midnight, took out a gun and demanded money. After getting the cash, he ran. Thankfully, no one was hurt. In Milledgeville, a teen is now behind bars for a Friday night shooting that left a man injured. Police say that they were called to Ernest Biner Street for shots fired, and when they arrived, they found a group who says they were the targets of the shooting. They told officers they were sitting outside when an armed man came up to them and started firing. A man in the group who had a legal gun returned fire before being shot when others joined that original shooting. Deputies were able to identify one of the shooters as 18-year-old Travion Butts. He's now facing 6 counts of aggravated assault and a gun charge. The investigation into that shooting is ongoing. Also in Baldwin County, authorities are taking a closer look at a house fire that happened last week. Around 3 Friday morning, a home on Combs Avenue near McKinley Street went up in flames. Now, the Baldwin County Fire Marshal's office believes that this fire wasn't an accident, but arson. Authorities are offering a reward of up to $10,000 for information that leads to the arrest and conviction of those responsible. A murder suspect was found dead in his cell at the Bibb County Jail. The sheriff's office says correctional officers discovered Troyce Billingsley unresponsible around noon Sunday. They say it appears he took his own life. Billingsley was in jail on a murder charge for the October 2022 shooting death of Craig Page. Page was in the hospital for 2 months before he died. An autopsy will be done to find the cause of death. The Office of Professional Standards will investigate the death. Thousands of people are working hard this holiday weekend in Florida. Folks are trying to salvage what they can after the devastating impacts of Hurricane Idalia in their regions. Now, Anna Eliopoulos brings us the story tonight.
Everything is trash. 90% of the stuff, there's nothing wrong with it. You just got the water, you don't know what's in it.
A massive cleanup effort underway in Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas this Labor Day. Thousands of people trying to restore and rebuild after the devastating impacts of Hurricane Idalia.
Bottom 4 feet of all the walls inside will have to be ripped out. Electrical's gonna have to be checked. There's a whole lot to be done just before we get power back on and start, restoring the place.
Idalia hit Florida's Big Bend region last week as a Category 3 hurricane. Strong winds and a powerful storm surge flooding coastal communities, causing billions of dollars in damages. This weekend, under intense heat, Floridians did their best to salvage what they could.
About 4 days of solid work so far. I got another 2 days, and I think I can get everything back to somewhat, usable.
Cleanup comes as thousands remain without power, forcing many to continue staying at temporary shelters. The Red Cross has now set up several relief sites for food and water to help those in the hardest hit communities.
We're here to just offer them some respite, comfort, and care.
Over the weekend, President Biden and the First Lady got a firsthand look at the storm damage. The Bidens seeing Idalia's impact from the sky and the ground. After his visit, the president promised the federal government would not abandon those in need.
Your nation has your back, and we'll be with you until the job is done.
According to Moody's Analytics, Hurricane Idalia has caused anywhere from $12 to $20 billion in damage. Recovery efforts in Florida and surrounding states is expected to take years to complete. Anna Eliopoulos, WGXA News.
Well, Hawaii tonight is once again welcoming neighbors. The state's tourism authority approved more than $2.5 million for marketing campaign aimed at helping communities devastated by last month's wildfires. It comes after House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and a delegation of other U.S. lawmakers toured the damage in Lahaina. They are pledging their additional support to prepare against future disasters as well.
There's disasters and they're going to continue to be disasters. I think we could better prepare where a disaster doesn't happen.
This is a national tragedy, a national disaster that demands a national response.
At least 15 people died in the wildfire, making it the deadliest in the U.S. in the past 100 years.
And it is Labor Day, normally the time that people think it's the unofficial end to summer, but it definitely starts opening the door for it to kind of knock off the edge of some of this high heat as our average high drops from 90 degrees today to 84, so the 90s are becoming less common. We do, though, lose 52 minutes of daylight. By the end of the month, the sunset will be at 7:20, about 40 minutes earlier than it will be tonight, but it still is going to feel like summer this week with temperatures really in the mid-90s, so not quite to fall yet. Let's go live on our Wilson Bryant Heating and Air Skycast Network, looking out over Mercer University on this cobalt blue, crystal clear Labor Day, and temperatures have been pretty seasonal for September standards. Currently 91 in Macon. That's the high for today, just 1 degree below average. 90 in Warner Robins, 88 in Sandersville, 88 in Thomaston, and 90 degrees right now in Mount Vernon. Satellite and radar showing that there's really not a lot going on the eastern third of the U.S. High pressure is built in. That's giving us a lot of the clear skies, but that's also going to start the warming trend for this week. So tomorrow, when you factor in the humidity, not too bad, up to 94. I think Wednesday and Thursday you'll be feeling the hottest, flirting around that century mark, but it's not going to be lasting for long. By the end of the work week and into the weekend, temperatures back down to more seasonable levels. Now, with that high pressure over top of us, we're mostly dry for tomorrow and Wednesday, but I am watching for a front to push through Thursday night or Friday morning that will bring the threat for some isolated showers and storms. And then heading into next weekend, we will get a few pop-up thunderstorms in the afternoon. No really big washout days, though, over the next 10. So for the day tomorrow, comfortably cool to start, 67 degrees at 7 o'clock, 91 degrees by 4, going for a high of 95. So temperatures tomorrow running around 5 degrees or so warmer than today. Now, out over the tropics right now, we are watching this one area in the tropical Atlantic. It does have a 100% chance of formation, so this will become our next named storm, most likely going to be called Lee. We are now really halfway through the tropical cyclone list. This week is really the peak, the statistical peak of hurricane season. Right now, most of the models are having it turn to the north before making landfall on the East Coast, but it's a little still too early to tell. I'll be sure to keep you posted. And in your 10-day forecast tomorrow, a mixture of sun and clouds up to about 95 degrees, a little bit warmer than today. Wednesday and Thursday, really the warmest. Air temperatures Thursday, bright but hot, up to 97. I think Thursday will be the warmest despite the air temperature 95. The feels like temperature nearing 100. There could be a stray shower. The later in the day will be the highest chance for that. Friday morning, that front could be pushing through with a few isolated thunderstorms up to 95 degrees. The weekend, though, looking pretty nice temperature-wise. A beautiful day on Saturday. There could be some isolated showers, but I think the more active day will be on Sunday with a few scattered thunderstorms around the high up to 92 degrees. And next Monday, also looking pretty good, mostly sunny, 91. So lastly, here's your Harrison's Body Shop Fish and Game forecast. Peaks at 6:20 a.m. and 7:20 p.m. Greg, back to you.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Well, today marks the start of a new mentorship program in Macon-Bibb County. The Recreation Department is hosting a free program for boys ages 7 to 17 at 9 different rec centers across the county. The program is meant to teach young men about setting goals and community service, along with physical and mental training and lots of other skills like financial literacy and communication skills. You can find the link to sign up on our website, WGXA.tv.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gary Thigpen, and I'm here again today at the Humane Society of Houston County. I'm joined again here by Dee today. And guess who we're going to tell you about today who is up for adoption?
This is Nigel. Nigel is the last of the inn puppies. There was Nina, Nathan.
He's so sweet.
He somehow or another has just been overlooked. But we want to tell you this is the smartest, sweetest dog you could ever want to meet.
He is such a sweet boy. Look how calm he is. If you want a calm, sweet boy, Nigel is the one for you. And how old is Nigel?
Nigel's about 15 months old.
15 months old, okay. So if someone would like to adopt Nigel, Dee, how would they go about doing that?
They would go on our website and fill out the application. The Humane Society of Houston County allows 7 to 10 days to process your application, please.
All right, let's go ahead and find that today. That's the Humane Society of Houston County. Get on there, put in the application for Nigel. Let's find him a good home. Thank you so much, Dee.
Thank you.
Well, there may be a somewhat bright side to the drought-plaguing parts of Texas. A series of dinosaur tracks have been uncovered in a drought-stricken riverbed in the state. They were found in Dinosaur Valley State Park in Glen Rose, which is located about an hour and a half south of Dallas. Paleontologists believe the tracks are around 110 million years old.
Not bad.
They were likely belong to an Acrocanthosaurus, which weighed up to 7 tons, and a Sauropodicon, which weighed about 44 tons along with their name. How could they not weigh that much?
I know.
The retail manager at Dinosaur Valley State Park says he has never seen this many dinosaur tracks before. Chris, our director, was spotted in the studio. Crews say it will take many days or weeks for the volunteers to remove the sediment covering the filling.
Can we honorarily?
Whatever. Can we just rewind and start over that one? But you can't.
I was going to say, can we honorarily name those tracks Chris now because of that?
I think we
Chris
just
comes
did.
in walking by and we're
Chris
like,
was walking in with the rundown for 6 o'clock, which we're always getting ready for what's next. But
I know.
Anyway, that's part of the fun of the job. And we thank you so much for watching WGXA News at 5:30.
We invite you to join us at 6 on ABC 16, but don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye. Oh my God.